It happens every year, kids are out from school, your calendar gets full of fun stuff, and you have a busy week. So Sunday morning, you sleep in a little and you're like, oh, we can maybe just watch church online later.
Can't say that on Christian radio.
My name is Therese Main.
My name is Jesse Gable. Together we are Main and Gable afternoons on Family Life. And this has been kind of a crazy summer for both of us. We were just talking the other day about how we just both, I mean, like you just said, schedule gets busy. Stuff happens on weekends. I guess I won't be to church this week. Now, my wife, Maddie, and I, we have been going to church pretty much every weekend, but it's been a different church every time. Like, we're out visiting my parents, so we go to their church. Or my wife is gone, and my friend is going to be preaching a sermon at this church, so I go to that one. Meanwhile, our home church that we've been putting roots in lately, I haven't really been there in, since the beginning of summer. And I feel a little bit bad about that.
Let's call it the summer skip, and I think that it's because we tend to think of church as a building or a place where we go to hear a message. But the church, the Big C church, is about the body of Christ. It's about being with other people. And when life gets busy, is usually when we need those other people the most.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's easier to drift than you think. I don't think that a lot of Christians wake up and go, you know what, I've had enough of church. It's one of those things that sort of is like a one small decision after another. Summer comes, you go on vacation, you schedule a baseball tournament or you visit some family. Missing church once doesn't seem like a big deal. The problem is missing that one Sunday makes it easier to miss the next Sunday, and that makes it easier to miss the next Sunday. And before long, what was once a strong habit, just kind of becomes something that gets left by the wayside. We don't usually notice because the drift is kind of subtle. In the book of Hebrews, there's this encouragement. Let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some. And that doesn't mean watching church on your iPhone, on the internet. And I love streaming. When you can't be at church for whatever reason, it is a great gift.
Huge blessing.
But you're missing out. I'm missing out when I'm not in that building with other believers.
Yeah, I love what it says. It uses the language, stir one another up, which I always skip right to the do not neglect to gather together as some have. Like, that's the important part of the verse. But stir one another up. I mean, imagine like a pot of soup. Imagine you're making something for the summer potluck. Maybe it's not soup. Maybe it's something else because soup's a little hot for this time of year.
You don't like soup in the summer?
I like soup, but when it's 85 degrees. Anyway, you know how like all the stuff starts to rise to the top if it just sits stagnant for a while, and then you got to stir it, and there's like this layer of chicken fat and stuff on the top, and it's kind of when we are stirred up, that's a good soup. When I'm by myself, I'm not getting together with other believers. I'm not being pushed. I'm not being encouraged. I'm not, again, being kind of, I don't want to say pressured by other people because it's not pressure.
Well,
but
it is being poked. You're being like sharpened. And we're supposed to kind of rub up against each other in a way that changes you. If you're going to become more like Jesus, well, you have to become less like yourself. And so to be less like you got to like bump up against somebody else who's going to help refine you.
Yeah, you got to get stirred up with the meat and potatoes and all the other ingredients in that soup to be tasty. So, yeah, weird analogy, but I really have felt that lately. And that's one of the reasons that I want to make sure that I'm involved, not just in a church or in a live stream, but in my church, in the community of believers that I have planted roots in, my wife has planted roots in, and with people we trust, because the people you trust, they are going to push you.
You're worshiping with other people. You're praying with other people. You're taking communion together, encouraging each other, serving one another. You're carrying somebody else's burdens. You're grieving together. You're rejoicing together. You're keeping each other accountable. That doesn't happen when you stay home and watch a live stream, you know? In 1 Corinthians, Paul kind of paints this picture of the church, you know, describing this body of believers as one body with many parts, you know? And we were never meant to live disconnected. That would be like a bunch of body parts just randomly all over the place that has to be together in order to function. And the world we live in, and I don't think this is by accident, the enemy has worked greatly to create a world where independence is praised.
Right, like I'm just going to kind of cowboy my way through life. It's me and the Lord, and that's it. And you might have a nice suggestion, but I'll take it with a grain of salt.
Even without the Lord, you know, I mean, just to say, I can do this on my own. I got this, you know, like somehow if you need help, you're considered weak. That, you know, and all of those things fly in the face of what God designs. Christianity especially is about community. And you can see, you know, through mental health in our nation that being alone is not good. It's not good for a person to live, you know, in isolation, in solitude. So we gather together because that's how God made it. First of all, that's how we grow. It's how we encourage each other. And it's how we display God's love, you know, because I'm not a foot. I can only do what a hand can do. And so I need those other parts in order to be truly effective in my ministry.
Yeah, my wife and I were kind of hosting a little home Bible study over the winter, and it was really, really great. And, you know, a lot of these people are friends that I work with at Family Life. So we work in ministry together, and we're serving the Lord together 5 days out of the week. That's great. But we never talk about, like, the real spiritual meat of what's God doing in your life? Like, what is he showing you lately? How can I pray for you? And so the Bible study was great, but over the summer, we decided after a couple sessions of trying to schedule it and everybody was busy, we'd better just cancel this. And I think that was probably for the best because otherwise it was just going to be a huge pain to put it together. But I'm really looking forward to the busy season dying down and being able to get back to that. And maybe we just need to be less busy. Like maybe that's an us problem, an American problem. We stuff our schedules so full of stuff that by the time Wednesday night Bible study comes around or by the time Sunday morning rolls around, we're so exhausted that we might not even bear good fruit if we did go to church. And yet that doesn't mean that church is the problem. That means that I'm the problem, and I got to know my limits, and I got to make church a priority, and not just, you know, the ritual of getting together and hearing a sermon on Sunday morning. I mean, like you said, Therese, gathering together with the body of Christ. We are hands and feet and mouths and ears and eyes, and all these different parts have to work together harmoniously. And when I'm too busy to be a hand this week, then the body of Christ is without a hand.
Yeah, our church tricked me into canceling the Sunday skip. I got an email that was like, "You've been signed up to greet this week."
Yes.
And I was like, "Okay, well,
I guess
I'm
greeting.
Signed up to greet this week." And you know what happened? I went, and it was great. You know, I got to talk to people and help people and hug people and catch up with people and, you know, had deep conversation in that lobby. You know me, I'm a 0 to 60 chatter. Like we went from, "Hey, how are you?" to, "I think this might be what the Lord's trying to do in your life," you know, like just like that. And so it just reminded me that it's not just about what I get when I walk through those doors.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are weeks where you can go to church and not feel like you got anything out of it. But what did you give? You know, in 1 Peter, it says each of you should use whatever gift you have to serve others. And so if it's just officially volunteering for a specific job at church or just having a conversation with somebody, using what you have, your knowledge, your skills, your resources to bless someone else, man, that is a big part of church. So if you found yourself in the summer skip, yes, try to get back to church, but also find a place to serve, you know. Join a team. You can greet. You can work in children's ministries. I know, especially in the summer, they have a lot of people who are on vacation and would probably love the help filling in the gap. You can make coffee. Maybe make iced coffee. You know, it's not just sitting in the pew that keeps us connected. It's discovering that God has given you a place. He's given you a purpose, and that is inside the church.
With air conditioning. Can't say that on Christian radio. Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, you could subscribe, maybe. And if you really liked it, you could always say so by making a gift to Family Life, the ministry this podcast is a part of. Just go to familylife.org and find out more about what we do.
Our producer is Josh Allen. How could we ever thank you enough? Did you know that Family Life offers a variety of podcasts? Get up to date with Family Life news, including the Noon Report and the 5 o'clock reports. There's If That Makes Sense, a conversation for Christians in their 20s. They're all free and on demand at familylife.org/podcast.